Another sort of quirky aspect, but silver being again a much smaller market than gold. If you look at what's taken place previously, is that gold gets most of the attention. It starts to build up. It's the sort of the better known hedge, so to speak. It's the go-to initially, at least. And so people often are late to the party. They'll see gold go up. Let's say gold is right now around close to 1900. Once it passes 2000 and continues to climb, let's say gold, goes up. I'm not even going to make a prediction right now, but several times, let's say higher even than it is currently. Mm-hmm. It's certain that it's going to attract a lot of attention. And if people see gold at multiple thousands of dollars per ounce, they're going to feel like they've missed that opportunity. They're going to look for alternatives. Silver naturally becomes that alternative. They'll see it at a much lower price per ounce and feel like, okay, silver has been rising as well, but I can get a lot more ounces per dollar for silver than I can for gold. I'm going to buy some silver. And it's a much smaller market, as I alluded to earlier, and that just sort of feeds on itself and pushes silver up dramatically. Again, as I say, in the latter stages of a precious metals bull market. So, I mean, yes, it certainly is informative. It's not a perfect indicator, but over time it is very useful. The average, say over the past maybe 40, 50 years or so, is about 55 to 60 ounces of silver per ounce of gold. Right now we're trading at about 80, which is, interestingly enough, a level at which it tends to peak. So it has peaked higher, that's for sure. But if you look, again, as I say, over the past 40 to 50 years or so, the ratio peaks typically around 80. And at that point, when the ratio starts to fall, that's when, in fact, both gold and silver start to rise, but silver rises at a faster pace and starts outpacing gold. So when you see the ratio at 80 and then start to fall, that's when you really want to start paying a lot of attention to silver and look to perhaps accumulate silver, especially if you see that it's in a rising environment, it starts to rally. Where have I seen it in the past? Well, the ratio bottomed in 1980 at 15. That was when silver reached $50 and gold reached $850. And then after that, the next low came in 2011 when silver bottomed at 30. Gold hadn't quite peaked yet, but was on its way to 1900. And I think that we really should look for a new low ultimately in this bull market. I'm not necessarily expecting 15, but I do think we're going to see 30, perhaps below 30. But that's where I think we should really look for a clear sign that perhaps silver has even peaked if we see it somewhere at or below 30.
Mm-hmm. So when we think about these, let's say these macro drivers or macro factors that are affecting the metals prices, how do real rates affect the appetite for silver?
So I talk about that also in the book. That's what I call the secret key. In fact, if you look at the best single indicator, at least that I know of, for whether gold is in and or is either heading towards or likely to be in and stay in a rallying or a positive price environment, is real rates. So that's essentially the rate of return, the rate of interest minus the inflation rate. And if you chart, which I do, and we can show that chart, if you look at gold versus the real rate of return, gold tends to move inversely, very clearly inversely to the real rate. And in 2018, the real rates peaked and then started falling. And that's when inflation started to rise and rates started to fall. And we've been in a rising price environment for gold ever since. And interestingly, if you create the same chart of real rates versus silver, it's almost identical to the gold versus real rates chart. And so that, again, for me at least, is a very clear indicator as to where silver is heading. And we're very much in negative real rate environment. And I believe with inflation high and central banks unable to raise rates significantly, we're going to remain in a negative real rate environment for several more years. And that's a perfect setup for silver.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.